Hi everyone, my name is Hadasa Distera Adeline and my metric number is 260400. So now I'm going to present about why do people fall for fake news. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so we know that fake news has always been a problem for years, right? And there are actually so many websites that claim themselves as a trusted website. And they usually act like a news organization, so they impersonate themselves into a news organization. And what we know is that usually fake news are often spread in social media, right? And usually from Facebook or WhatsApp. And actually I started to know this phenomenon because my big family usually spread the fake news in the group on WhatsApp. So the question here is, why do people fall for fake news? There are actually so many factors. It can be money factor, like someone wants to generate more money or income online, and they usually create some sort of like clickbait title to attract us. It can also be political factor, and this is the very common one. Usually it happens before the election. For example, a few months ago during Trump's election, if you use Twitter, then you might know this case. So actually Twitter has this retweet button and we can just click it to retweet the tweet. But because of the rising of fake news about Trump, then this retweet button is limited. So Twitter limits this activity and also suspends Trump's account for a while. And so we can see the pictures over here. So this one acts like a BBC website and it looks so real, right? But it's actually not. And the picture on the right, this one is actually a parody. So this is actually an ads for plastic surgery. And it became a meme on the internet, but people thought it was real. And people started to make stories and it was spread worldwide. And what happened next is that people thought that she had a plastic surgery and she got less and less work. She didn't appear on the advertising anymore. Okay, so here is a survey from Daily Social. So Daily Social is actually like an organization in Indonesia. It's like a tech startup. And surprisingly, here it shows that 44% of people in Indonesia cannot detect fake news. And these are the platforms where they get most of the fake news. So Facebook at 82%, WhatsApp at 56%, and Instagram at 29%. So this survey was actually conducted among 2,032 respondents in 2018 in Indonesia. Next, I want to discuss the problems about the fake news itself, and I cover around 3 problems and it will be highlighted in my 10 minutes of documentary. Okay, so the first problem is the changes in users' new consumption. So in this information era, we can now receive a lot of information from the internet, right? And do you notice that there are changes in our behavior as well? From asking someone to get the information or watch television to get like knowledge or information, or read books or encyclopedia to get the information itself, to search anything on Google or social media. So here I want to say that social media in nature will give you information based on the thing that you want to read. So it's actually kind of biased. You know the algorithm on YouTube or Instagram? So on YouTube, if you tend to search a specific thing continuously, you will see the same thing over and over again on your YouTube feeds. And same goes to your Instagram. It will pop up in your Explore. So it actually starts to change the way people get the information. And because on the internet, we are the one who controls what we want to see. And the algorithm will follow. Okay, next is the lack of trust in the media. So in the digital age, everyone can be a publisher and share anything for free. We're also constantly bombarded by information to the point where we get information overload. So I want to take an example of COVID-19 in Indonesia, and it happened in March 2020. So last time I used Twitter for a while and I noticed that people only tweet about COVID-19. And I was like frustrated because the feeds on my Twitter only discusses about COVID-19 all the time. And there wasn't any like good news or something other than COVID-19. So it really made me frustrated and to the point that I got information overload. So actually it makes it hard for us to know which one is correct and which one is not, because at that time I only got to know the news about COVID-19 and there was not a lot of proper fact check back then because WHO still did a research about it. Especially if you came across a website that impersonates a news organization, then you suddenly believe that thing and you don't trust any other news organization. And the emergence of social media itself makes it even hard for us to distinguish the fake news. So let's see the example here. Okay, so the picture on the left depicts how people don't trust the media. And so for this one, I'm taking an example of the Israel and Palestine case. And then the next picture, the picture on the right, depicts that people really don't believe media. Like people think that all those media organizations only focus on one country itself rather than the other country. Okay, so the next problem is there is actually no platforms to help users evaluate news. Okay, so actually there are so many fact check platforms on social media nowadays, especially if you see Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, there will always be like this news is not credible or something like that. And they always notify us to be careful about particular news like election, COVID-19, and so on. But there's actually no platform that can assist us to evaluate whether this news is correct or not, especially if it's spread on texting platforms. And we actually have a tendency to believe that when a particular thing has so many comments or likes, then we would believe that the news is correct. Actually really about the skills to detect fake news. The thing is, people often relate it to media literacy. But actually if we observe, like for example, we as a Gen Z tend to use internet more, therefore we're media literate enough. But sometimes even a media literate person finds it difficult to distinguish fake news. So it's not actually about media literacy. Okay, so for example here, the picture on the left, it's about Donald Trump, and see the fact-checking platform over here, it's from Twitter, and the picture below is the fact-checking platform on Facebook. Okay, so these are the objectives that I want to highlight in my documentary video. So the first one is to identify the effects of social media on people's understandings of news and decision making. And then the second one is to investigate the use of media to disseminate correct news and to refute falsehoods and misinformation. And the third one is to suggest ways to deal with fake news in a media literate manner. Right now, I want to discuss about the methods that I use to gather or like to make this documentary video itself. So this research actually adopts a qualitative approach, which will be included in the documentary itself. The first one, I want to gather the opinions from experts. So I want to gather various experts to get like various perspectives on fake news. So it's from fact checker, journalist, specialist disinformation, and also social behavior researcher. Hopefully, this would enhance our information about fake news itself from a different perspective. Okay, so the next one is I gathered the data from the secondary research. The data gathered covers from 2016 and 2021 to keep the information relevant with the condition today. The three distinct searches are misinformation, media literacy, and fake news. Last but not least, I want to end this presentation by stating a quote for us, and hopefully it will be helpful for us to be careful in reading the news online, whether it's on the news media outlet itself, on their website, or in the social media platform. So don't believe in everything you read on the internet just because there's a picture with a quote next to it. That's the quote to end my presentation. Hopefully it will be helpful for us. Thank you for listening. I'm Hadasa Distera Adeline, and thank you and goodbye.